What's this one for?
This is for UncleTboxing. This is just my thing.
Okay.
I'm growing.
Good. Well, you got to start with something.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, this is UncleTboxing, and I'm here with the announcer, the writer. Do you write as well?
I do.
Okay. Do you still write?
Not so much nowadays. It's mainly just commentating.
Yeah. It was a pleasure to be here, having an interview here, because I love having people that's been in the sport for quite long. How long have you been in the sport of boxing for?
Longer than you'd imagine. Over 30 years.
Well, I was born around that time. I'm 37, so
you don't make me feel old. I have that problem when I look in a mirror. Never mind talking to you.
So let's talk about this card. There's Daniel Dubios versus Tetteh. I just spoke to him. I was the only one who spoke to him because I could understand a little, well, it's broken English. So,
yeah.
And he just told me that he's actually cousins with Latte. Did you know that?
I didn't know that. No.
So when he said that, he was laughing like as if he's got something up his sleeve, like he's been given some good information. So this might be a very tricky fight.
Well, he thinks he's the better man, doesn't he? He thinks he's a better fighter than Richard Lartey was. And he says he's sparred with Richard many times, and he's obviously watched the fight. So he's seen how Daniel on that occasion got sort of dragged into a bit of a barroom brawl, didn't he?
Yeah.
It turned into a fight which I don't think Daniel's corner would have really wanted to see him in. Yeah, I mean, he fancied it, didn't he, Ebenezer? And you look at him. I'll tell you what surprised me. He's a lot bigger than I thought he would be.
100%.
He's a good 6'3", 6'3.5", and he'll be weighing around about 16 stone. And he looks in shape.
He looks there very much for, and I've known a few Ghanaians like Boatsi, for example. They come very, very tough, and like we've seen with Latte.
Yeah.
So it'll be quite interesting. It's not going to be an easy night work.
Well, hey, he's the WBO African champion. Yeah. He's got a chance of becoming the first ever Ghanaian Commonwealth heavyweight champion. So everybody's talking about Daniel, and rightly so, because he's young boxer of the year. He's got this exciting career progress which is being mapped out for him. But people shouldn't forget that this is a huge opportunity for Ebenezer as well, and he's going to come here and give it everything.
What do you think of Daniel Dubios?
I think he's a talent. I do. I thought his performance against Nathan Gorman was very impressive because we always knew he had power, but he boxed his way to that win. He got clipped a couple of times, and he was against Richard Lartey. He's shown that he can take a shot, but I thought against Nathan Gorman, I thought he boxed really well. Worked off the jab. Everything, it's an old boxing adage, isn't it? Everything comes off the jab, but he's clearly taken that on board, and I think the Peacock Gym and Martin Bowers are doing a great job with him. I think when you think he only had 7 amateur fights, and here he is in his 13th pro fight, I think the rate of progression has been spectacular, and rightly, I think he's being rewarded by being named Boxer of the Year, Young Boxer of the Year. I think he's a very, very exciting young talent.
That's a big statement because the last heavyweight to have won that title was about 26 years ago.
Herbie Hyde, 1993, and before that Frank Bruno in 1985. And you go back, Joe Bugner, Joe Erskine back in the 50s. It doesn't happen every day, as you say. 26 years since there was a heavyweight who won the British Young Boxer of the Year, but I think Daniel really stood out head and shoulders above all the rest of the candidates, and it was a fairly easy job for all the writers and broadcasters to make.
Moving along, Nicola Adams, she's going to be fighting Salinas, yes, that's
Maria Salinas.
Maria Salinas, forgive me. How do you see that fight?
Well, I think it's set up for Nicola to look very good indeed. She's got physical advantages. She's about 5'5", whereas her opponent is only around 5 foot. She's got a big reach advantage. She's quicker. Salinas, on the basis of what we've seen in her previous fights, she just likes to come ploughing forward. She's aggressive. She'll try and throw loads of punches. But really, if Nicola does what she's capable of doing, keeping it long, keeping it at range, and working with her boxing skills, I think she's going to be, at very least, a wide points winner if she can't force a stoppage.
Archie Sharp against Declan?
Good fight. Very good fight. Archie Sharp's had a very good year. Back end of last year, beating Leon Woodstock That was an outstanding performance. He had the win against Gonzalez, which was a TKO, and then another good performance beating Jordan McCrory. He's had a good year, and I think I think people are starting to wake up to just how good Archie Sharp is. But Declan Geraghty at his best could give him a lot of trouble. He's the same sort of height. They both stand around 5'9", 5'10". He's a southpaw, Geraghty. It may well be that Archie Sharp, who's a switch hitter, he may decide to take the fight as a southpaw. And I think, well, obviously both camps really fancy it. They believe that their man has got the answer to the other. It might be a bit technical. Who's going to have the edge tactically? I don't think it's not going to be a toe-to-toe war. It's going to be a technical sort of fight, and I think it's going to go long, and it's going to depend on who gets it right on the night. I've got a lot of respect for Archie Sharp, but I've seen Declan Geraghty in the past beating John Quigley, beating Tennyson, having an absolute war against John O'Carroll. Yeah, he lost his last fight by stoppage fairly quickly against Marco McCullough, but his first couple of rounds, Geraghty had won the first two. Then he got clipped with a big right hand. Maybe he got complacent, I don't know. But at his best, he's got the boxing skills, which is going to make it an interesting fight.
Any other ones fighting on the undercard you've got your eye on?
Well, Willie Hutchinson, good light heavyweight. He's in action, lad who fights out of the Ingle Gym in Sheffield, comes from up in Lanarkshire. And I'm particularly looking forward to seeing again young Dennis McCann, the 18-year-old gypsy lad who so far has just looked absolutely the business. He looks a real talent. People are already saying he's somebody who reminds them of Naz when he was coming through, in the early 90s or whenever it was. You know, he's that sort of talent, and he's exciting. He's a sparky, cocky little kid, and I'm looking forward to seeing him going again. And Hutchinson, I think, is somebody who potentially is going to go all the way.
Well, thank you, sir, for your commentary, and I look forward to speaking to you a little bit more.
Okay,
thank
good
you,
lad.
Sir. Thank you.
All right.